Well, it's an investment arrangement in which investors are promised low risk and high return. Here's the catch: these investments are fraudulent. They are not actual investments, they eventually collapse, and investors lose a lot of money. The origin of the term Ponzi scheme comes from Italian immigrant Charles Ponzi, who immigrated to the United States in the 1880s. He was a businessman who later duped a lot of people into buying postal reply coupons. When the scheme collapsed, Ponzi had carried out one of the largest frauds in U.S. history. So, how does a Ponzi scheme work? Well, let's start with an example. Let's take an investment of 6 blocks, and each block is worth $1, so in total that's an investment valued at $6. Anyway, the client goes to what he thinks is a qualified investor. In reality, this investor is a Ponzi schemer, and he says, I have $6. The investor says, if you give me your $6 and invest with me, I will give you $9 of return. So the naive client gives his $6 to the investor. When the client is ready for his money, the investor gives it back to him with the full $9 or the $3 of return that he promised. Satisfied client Green goes and tells his friends Orange, Red, and Blue about his wonderful investment experience. In turn, Orange, Red, and Blue give their investments to the Ponzi schemer. Sure enough, when Orange, Red, and Blue ask for their money back, Ponzi schemer is able to produce it with the high returns that he's promised. The problem with Ponzi schemes is despite the great return, it's looking behind the returns that actually matter. The truth about them, and this is the secret about Ponzi schemes, is they're not about investing. Rather, it's a distribution or a redistribution of money from new investors to old investors. And in this example, let's say there's an old investor, Investor Pink, and he had given Ponzi schemer $6. So he goes to Ponzi schemer and says, I want my return. What Ponzi schemer has actually done is that he's taken money from the newer investors, Red, Orange, and Blue, and he's used that money as part of the return. Now, in fact, this is a simplified example of how a Ponzi scheme works. In reality, it's much more complicated, and there's a lot more money being used. The key to understand is not that this example is simple, but that this reflects that the money is being shifted from newer investors to older investors.
So now that you just learned about what a Ponzi scheme is, I'm going to go over the different kinds of red flags there are and different things that you should look out for when you invest. The first red flag there is little or no risk for the investor. The second red flag is a promise of unreasonably high returns. Number 3 is a exclusive investment opportunity. Number 5, non-standard account statements. Number 6, waiver customer fees. Number 7, vague explanation regarding investment plan. And now that you know a little bit about what a Ponzi scheme is, and now the different kinds of red flags that go into Ponzi schemes, it's now time for you to take what you learned into the real world and practice your newfound knowledge on Ponzi schemes, and hopefully you'll not be a part of one.